Hello Mr. YouTube, what's good? Back in July, I was one of the 7 Mario 64 speedrunners invited to TwitchCon EU for Break the Record Live 70 star. A 2-day event of grinding 70 in an attempt to break the world record of 46:58 by Ouija. And while on stage, with a live audience in front of me, I actually had a world record based run into the late game. That run happened early on day 1 of the event, shortly after the no reset run. And I wanna take you through all of it, tell you about my thoughts, mindset, and how I go about dealing with the pressure. It will be a long one, boys. There's quite a lot of important information in my brain.
Yes.
I could talk about any run, but this is my latest good pacer, and considering I was on stage, it adds another interesting factor to it. Just a quick heads up, you'll most definitely notice some camera glitching. Unfortunately, throughout the entire run this was fairly prominent. Bad luck on my end, because the only camera that was messing up like this was mine. But yeah, before the pacing happened, we had to finish our whole run without being allowed to start over, so everyone gets a time on the leaderboard. With my consistency in 70 and having gotten 147s, it went exactly how you think it would.
Okay, so what's left is big swing now for Denner. Rather than going to the left, he's going to go to the right side, or no, just straight off the edge. Let's go, Denner! Let's hear it for Denner! What a jump! Way! Woo! What a beast!
Totally intentional.
I finished with a 50-21. Pretty amazing, right? I did not mind my performance at all. Jokes aside, it was easy to forget about my bad gameplay. It was just a no reset run after all. All I thought about was the main event is what matters. So even though a lot went wrong in this run, I took it very lighthearted. There's no reason to take it serious. And to be honest, it was a good opportunity to get used to playing on stage. With the no reset run done, it was time for some quick bits practice and then start the resetting. Since we didn't have that much time to actually grind during the event, like 7 hours each day isn't that much to confirm you get a run close to world record, I started doing runs right away to get as many attempts in as I could. And to no one's surprise, I was mainly resetting to canonless. As a Mario runner, you're kind of accustomed to resetting a lot in lobby. I think that's normal for every speedrun's early game. You just want it to be as optimized as possible, meaning you have to reset a lot. And whenever I reset here, I would look over to Ouija, Ouija would look over to me, and we go, yep, this game is great, I love it so much. Luckily, only 4 resets in, I finally got canonless. As you can tell, those 4 resets really took a toll on me. I did mess up Island Top in this attempt, that bonk cost around 3 seconds already, but everything else up to canonless was fine. Since it was still early in the event, like an hour and a half in, I just tried to use the energy I have when I start doing attempts to get runs as far as possible. For this type of event, it's not only about breaking the record, but also about getting a decent time in general. So despite the mistake, I decided to carry on in hopes to finish this attempt. But even if I didn't get a good time, I thought that finishing a run also helps to get used to being on stage and build up a bit of consistency. Overall, pretty happy about getting Assault class. I messed up a bit after double jump Aulus, but everything else in Worms worked out as per usual. No mistakes. I like how when I finished Worms 100, Cheese just started talking to me randomly. He probably said something along the lines of, "You're such a Kartoffeln." And I had to ask what the heck he was talking about. Apparently he didn't know what Kartoffeln means, and I didn't either. That's not a German word. And then he messed up entering recap because he got lost in the sauce. With that Island Top mistake and a bit of sloppiness in Worms, I got a 709, which isn't too bad. It's still ahead of my PB by a second. It's just not up to my recent standards. But yeah, as I said, I just wanted to get the run as far as possible. My best event time was still a 50-21 after all. I want to talk about the setup and atmosphere real quick. Since the setups were the same I used at home, RetroTink and ViewSonic monitors, I didn't have any struggle getting used to playing there in terms of the game. Input delay was the same. Just sitting differently and the monitors being in a different position was a bit weird, but you know, I even got Tsuki no problem. It's the fastest cycle people go for in runs. It has a lot of hard movement. So I would say my muscle memory was not that affected. It was definitely not that easy getting used to the volume in the venue though. With the casters coming through the speakers behind us and the fact that there was a live audience, it was extremely loud. To give you a bit of an idea, I want to show you this cam footage from day 2. This is how it looks when you reset. So next to this one, got an event PB just now, very epic. I always look up at the screen, it's like kind of killing my bag. You were able to use noise cancelling headphones, but I don't like those. I used regular phone headphones instead, which was good enough for me. I could still hear everything, but it was a lot more comfy than no headphones. I just tried to black out everything else other than Mario. Same with the live audience, by the way. It was intimidating. I tried my best to ignore the fact that I'm on stage to avoid unnecessary thoughts, but what really helped was being able to talk to the other runners whenever. It was really fun at times and made it a lot less stressful. It felt like it was just us there, you know? Aside from the dusty road and the ledge grab, Dark World was pretty fine. I still got a 10:16. It's like 3 seconds behind my PB. And considering this is my first run out of Worms this event, it's still really good. As annoying as that ledge grab was. Going into CCM, I didn't worry about much. Even though wall kicks will sometimes go wrong, it's not that hard of a trick and fairly early in the game. In this stage, I just find it easy to be laid back and think stuff like, yes, a run to Pillarless, finally. Now, from here on out, I can't actually tell you what happened up until the beginning of Lethal Lava Land. Because there was a break going on and I don't remember, they didn't show my game feed. It's a bit of a shame, because getting a decent run into the second part of the game, the basement, doesn't happen to every run, you know? And there's a couple hard tricks where you need to make sure to pay attention, like the mentioned Pillarless. After Dark World, it's the first trick that is really monka. I have to focus a lot on doing the right button inputs, especially with the double jump at the end. I messed that up a lot. And messing up means you die, which means the run dies, unless you want to take a lot of time loss here. Didn't happen to this run though. After the break, I was in Lethal Lava Land. 2 stars in. That's when I always do Lava Boost. Approaching Lava Boost can be really scary. Similar to Pillarless, you can easily die, and you don't want to reset with a potential run to Fire Sea. But I did get it during the no reset run, so I didn't overthink it one bit and just went in. I even nailed the hardest strat at the end, which is always a confidence boost. There's nothing in Lethal Lava Land that can potentially kill the run from here on out, so it is a bit more laid back after Lava Boost. At least speaking about common mistakes, like not getting a triple kill on the bullies would only be a small time loss. It wouldn't be the end of the run. Even if I died on the elevator star, which doesn't happen often, I would still want to continue, just to be able to still get a 47 in this event, since it's only been like 2 hours. Overall though, Lethal Lava Land went pretty good. Looking at my splits, somewhere in between CCM and Lava Boost I did lose time, but I finished with a 20:36. And I might have not shown it, but getting a Lethal Lava Land time that decent makes me happy. Although it did make me think about the pace a fair bit, since it is easy 24 Fire Sea pace and I wanted to take a 24 Fire Sea home. That is the standard of being able to say, yeah, this run is pretty alright. I found myself thinking too far ahead. These are the kind of thoughts I really want to avoid when pacing, because it's better to focus on the upcoming star. So I have to remind myself on what I have to do next. But to be honest, my mind wasn't going that crazy yet. Alright, DDD. The first star is never a problem really. I went a bit wide on these turns, you can turn a lot tighter. But I didn't want to lose multiple seconds here. And with taking my time on these turns, this star is free. Generally speaking though, I always have to focus hard on keeping the right swim rhythm. Pressing A ain't that easy, let me tell you that. Were you also distracted by the camera here? This is the part where it went really crazy. I kept seeing it in the corner of my eye for the whole run. Usually I'd want to try to fix it myself, if it was on my stream. It would constantly be on my mind, making me lose my focus on the game and think about technical difficulties instead. But I was just a guest here. This wasn't my stream. Since I couldn't do anything about it, it didn't faze me much. This is however the first instance of ESA staff coming over to fix it. I'm glad they waited until I was done with the star so I wouldn't be too distracted. And then my camera froze because they had to unplug it. But let's get back to the run. There is a pretty tough strat coming up called front sub. In the beginning I decided to not go for chip clip, since lately I've been failing it in runs. I was a bit scared of it and started overthinking. That's why I know I shouldn't go for a strat. I didn't want to worry about it. And with front sub coming up, I need to feel comfortable. I'm pretty scared of it, because I've fallen back into the water on good runs a lot already, and that loses quite some time. I feel more confident about it than for chip clip, but I still think stuff like, what if I slide down the sub and lose 10 million years? And yeah, you can see the ESA stuff behind me, but all I could think about was stuff like, you're so close to entering Fire Sea and getting a run upstairs. Please just get it. And so I did. At least in this attempt. And well, in the end ESA staff wasn't able to fix my camera, but at least I wasn't faced by someone being behind me. I was too focused on pressing A. My thoughts in Fire Sea are similar. You're finally about to enter upstairs, please don't fail. It is a bit monka, but I have so much experience with Fire Sea, not a lot can go wrong usually. I don't need to focus much on specific parts. Except for this long jump angle here, holding the upright notch doesn't work for me. Because of that, I have to make sure to long jump before Mario makes a complete turn. And that needed a bit more extra thought than other movement. If I didn't focus enough on that, I maybe would have long jumped into the lava instead of getting a wall kick. The bully was in a good position too, so I didn't have to dodge. Everything going well set me up to get the fastest cycle here. Man. This fire sea is going great. All these dives and rollouts and... well, it wasn't as bad as I made it out to be. It's annoying, but I was still able to get a 24 fire sea, so it was easy to forget about that mistake. No buzzer throw miss, which allowed me to get a 24.56, a really decent fire sea time. A 24 fire sea pretty much confirms that the run has potential. With that kind of time, you know you have leeway for mistakes going into up stairs. So upstairs, kinda where the run starts. Usually at this part of the run I would close chat. A while back when I first grinded for world record, I noticed that I focused way too much on chat's reactions. I couldn't deal well with seeing emotes whenever I failed or nailed a strat, for example. I would even think about how chat might react to something way before it happened. So closing chat is sort of like out of sight, out of mind. Well, almost. I still thought about it a bit. But it was a lot easier to remind myself that it doesn't matter how other people will react. I also didn't have to think about how to construct a proper sentence. The energy I would have used on that just went to playing Mario and staying focused instead. On top of that, I started to breathe in and out very heavily. With each breath, I could calm myself down. And yeah, I had to keep swiping my hands on my towel as well after each star, because they're sweaty. Otherwise, my grip would feel off, and I couldn't play properly. These are the 3 strats I do to stay calm and focused. They help me to not think about anything other than Mario. Just focus on the upcoming star. But you know, not too much. Focusing too much on playing perfect makes me mess up even more. All this is really important now, because once you head upstairs, the nerves hit. The upstairs nerves. To me it feels like you can play more laid back in the early game. Talk to people more, just have a chill time, cause resetting is annoying. And once in upstairs, I have to play more reaction based, since I do not want to lose a run here at all costs. All that applies here, break the record as well. I knew I could get a 46 with a 24.56 fire sea. The difference was just that I wasn't reading chat at all during this event. But there was a live audience and casters. I couldn't just minimize those. With each breath in between stars, I told myself it doesn't matter how everyone reacts. Just keep looking at the monitor. There was really nothing else I could have done. Just imagine they were not there. You might be able to tell my mind becomes a lot more wild during upstairs. From now on I'll go more into detail on how I think about most stars. Going into a dry world, I was shitting my pants. First star in upstairs hits different. I was praying that Drought 100 goes right. Not only does it have hard movement, but there's a lot of RNG that forces you to change your flow of gameplay, if RNG does go bad. Check out this godlike Skeeter RNG I got though. That is just, Next to RNG I was afraid of this triple jump part. To make it easier on myself, I decided to go for a ledge grab. I could have skipped it, but I didn't want to risk hitting the invisible wall and fall down, which would have been a devastating time loss and way too hard on my mindset. Through this whole star I was definitely on guard, on the lookout for bad RNG. But this was probably the best Word Art 100 I could have asked for. Even the Chuckya at the end was nice to me. The Chuckya coins can spread out everywhere sometimes. Getting such a good Word Art 100 is really nice to calm the upstairs nerves. Which is really good, especially for the upcoming 2 stars. I feel confident about them, but there's this alignment on the ramp that is really tough. So on pace I always tell myself to take enough time to align my angle. That mostly works out for me. I think that's generally a playstyle I adapted over the last few years in upstairs. Try to go a bit more consistent rather than all in. Benji for example, he does this triple jump without stopping, which is really hard, but whenever I try that in runs, I have a hard time getting the right angle or fall down. So at break the record, instead of potentially messing up, I decided to take the small time loss, stopping and then turning. This worked out for both triple jump wall kicks for me. The last star in Wet Route is free, so no mistakes here. I finished with a 28.21, which is 2 seconds behind my PB, my 46.59. I was feeling somewhat comfy. Getting past Wet Route 100 without much time loss is always a confidence boost. But at the same time in upstairs, you're always on edge and never really feel safe. Especially with THI Secrets and Mountain Club coming up. And yes, I entered THI and immediately messed up the beginning movement for THI Secrets. I wasn't able to get the triple jump in the beginning. Small mistakes like that happen. I don't know if it was nerves, the live setting, or just me being bad. Maybe a mix of all of that. But I didn't let it faze me. Instead of sticking to my guns and potentially mess up more, I went for the box star instead. After leaving the pipe, I messed up again. I didn't get the double jump and lost all my momentum. So I couldn't do the dive and had wrong spacing. Usually I go for the mountain clip strat, but I decided to just drop it altogether. Because attempting the strat without the right momentum from the previous movement can make it go wrong really fast. Once again, I sacrificed a bit of time save over potentially having a meltdown, just so that I didn't have to worry about more time loss, and had some time to collect myself. Messing up the beginning movement for secrets was no problem. I didn't think it was a big deal and would get it on the second try without any struggle. Instead, I was already praying to get the movement after the second secret right. It needs a lot of brainpower since it's hard and I often mess it up. You can easily back it up though, which is why I still go for it. But I managed to get that juicy triple jump no problem. However, I did flop the B press and didn't clip into the mountain here. Considering I have failed this a lot in the past, I knew exactly what to do. I did the backup triple jump right away. At this point I told myself it's okay, just a bit of time loss and I recovered quite well, which helped feeling in control. The last star has nothing to worry about. The movement I do is very easy and defeating the piranhas this way has no risk. Finally some time to breathe after the box star in secrets. I got a 30-22 THI, which was 8 seconds behind my PB. A bit worrying, but with a huge time save coming up in Snowman's Land, I didn't mind the 6 seconds time loss in this stage at all. I know I can't really ignore the womp in the room. Bear with me with these Liam bitrate shenanigans. It only gets worse from here on out. And at the same time, my camera is getting worse again. I noticed it once again in the corner of my eye in my OBS feed, but just like with ignoring the live audience, after each star I take a breather to remind myself what to focus on, which is the next star. This is very apparent in upstairs. My mind constantly tries to not focus on the game. I bet if someone pulled out their rooster in the audience, I would lose the run. But let's not get distracted here. It's time for TTM. Words cannot describe how scary going into the stage on pace is. I'm always praying that it goes right. And it has one of the hardest threads in the whole game, breezeless. I decided it was better to go safe in this run, for the main reason that I did fail breezes in the no reset run earlier, which wasn't too long ago and I hadn't practiced breezes since then. So I felt shaky about it. I thought it would be better to just drop it and not deal with falling down. I just took the 3 seconds immediate time loss instead. And with the breeze out of the way, I feel a lot more comfortable in TTM. You can probably tell my camera just froze. This is the second instance where ESA staff came over to fix it. First from behind the monitor, then again next to me. As I finished the breeze star, ESA staff actually talked to me, telling me they had to come over again. And I was like, please not now, I'm actually on a run. Due to the volume though, they probably didn't understand me. I didn't talk that loud. As I entered for TTM Reds, they came over. Even then, I was able to keep it together. My TTM Reds beginning was amazing. I guess having grinded it so much in single star has helped a ton, and I could focus on not focusing on the camera fixing. But then I did mess up a bit in the end. Everything going on next to me was a bit too much after all. I failed the side flip on the 5th red, which kept my momentum and my angle went bad. So I dropped the pro walking ending and instead went safe with a double jump. I felt like that was the best thing I could have done with what was happening next to me. Luckily the damage wasn't that bad. I also managed to collect myself once I grabbed the star, do the good old breathe in and out to regain my focus. I had to tell myself it's a lot more important to focus on the game, not the fixing. And I mean, I didn't have any other choice, right? ESA had to do their job. Just gotta take it. And unfortunately from here on out until bits, you won't be able to see my facial reactions anymore, since ESA changed the layout. The 2 upcoming mountain stars are tough. I didn't get an insta clip on the waterfall star, which isn't too bad. That's how it was in my PB2, so I didn't need an insta clip. For log wall kick, I decided to not go for the first here both times. I need the perfect alignment to feel confident that I can get it. It would have added too much pressure. As always, I'm dropping strats so I feel more collected. Then I went for some dust on the triple jump here to make sure I can get it and don't slide down, telling myself I don't need to be perfect and delay the A input. After I got up, I focused hard on getting the right angle for the long jump here, as well as long jump off really close to the edge. Because if you long jump too early or with a wrong angle, you don't get enough height on the wall kick and have to do a backup wall kick 100% of the time. I also tried my best to delay the wall kick to not get a firstie, but I was ready to back it up in case I needed to wall kick again on the next wall. When I got this done, I was very relieved. the ending for the next star isn't nearly as bad. On the mountain star I did get an insta clip. Always feels amazing and saves like 1 to 2 seconds. What I said about log walking and the triple jump applies here as well, making sure that I go consistent rather than super fast. And I'm really glad that everything went right. I realized it was dusty, but man, I still felt good after this one. Going into the box star, I wasn't afraid at all. Felt like I was pretty much done with TTM already. There was a tiny mistake when grabbing the box, but jumping back like that didn't mess up my lineup, so it was no problem. I always go for the wall bounce because it feels safer than the other strat. I finished TTM with a 33.18. I was plus 11 on my PB, so 3 seconds lost here. With everything that happened, not bad at all I thought. Now, into Snowman's Land. You all know I have a bit of a history with the first star, Snowman's big head. Being able to save like 10 seconds here, I went into SL thinking, oh my god, please just get this, do not fall down again. And of course, I messed up the angle for the triple jump. It's supposed to be upright, not straight. But I immediately noticed that. So I decided to drop the slide into wall kick strat and go for the backup strat right away. I knew I was overthinking the star, so instead of trying the regular strat with a bad angle and potentially fall down, I had no problem going safe and taking the small time loss. The box star is also a bit scary. I slightly messed up the A input for the triple jump, so it didn't come out, but I was ready for that. My backup and adapting game this upstairs has been really solid. For the scary part though, it's when you slide down here. I make sure to focus on waiting a bit before I press A for the jump. Kinda try to feel the timing for how long Mario has been sliding, since jumping too early would result in a bonk. I managed to get over the wall, although I did make the common mistake to miss the ground pound. But it's only a second, so that didn't affect me at all. Deep freeze never feels like a problem. If you slide down the ice, the backup is fairly quick, so knowing that, I just went all in. Bully is also kind of easy. All I have to focus on is getting the alignment for the camera, so pressing C left right before I hit the ground, and the rest are pretty straightforward inputs. I still managed to save 4 seconds in Snowman's Land. Got a 35.14, only plus 7 on my PB now. Although my best possible time is not looking too great. If you're not familiar with what that means, in order to get a 46.45, I have to play perfect until the very end. I have to tie the best I have ever played in every stage from here on out. And the last 3 stages have some of the hardest stars too. So in conclusion, it's kind of hard to do that. It is tough on my mindset, but I know I clutched it out before and could do it again. I told myself, I can do it. As long as you don't make big mistakes, the run is alive. Playing a bit sloppy is not the end. Just play consistent. For the next segment, the scariest part is probably grabbing MIPS. I always try to get the right alignment and spacing. If I notice it is off, I do not go for the punch grab and just dive instead. But I did have the right alignment here. Gotta be honest for a second. I tried to focus really hard on these A inputs. Even though they're just long jumps, I tried to get the right spacing. I did not want to die on the last one. And for the triple box jump, I always take it easy. I didn't want to do it super fast. I tried to eat a bit of dust on the triple jump to feel safer. I'm terrified to shoot over every time, just like fall off the box. And that feeling was even worse during this run. I barely had leeway for mistakes, since, you know, look at my best possible time. Barely any time to lose anywhere, and I still had Tippy coming up. Good thing I got the triple jump here though. And then I made sure to hold back to not die here. Overall I didn't lose too much time over a really good box jump, maybe like 0.5. I was glad I got through it without seeing a lot more red. After that, HMC felt a bit like I could finally breathe. Upstairs was nerve-wracking, and usually is. HMC feels a lot more calm, if you don't do strats too insane, which I did, or which I didn't. Emergency exit was fairly sloppy too, but it's a 3 star if you don't go fast, so whatever. I just want to feel comfy and stay calm. Same with Christmas Miracle. Everything goes right, but not the fanciest movement. I also decided to drop GTM slide, since I had not been doing it on pace consistently enough lately. Because of that, I was sure I was gonna mess it up, so I went for the long jumps. Overall, a really sloppy HMC, but I knew my PB had the same kind of sloppiness. I got a 38.20, still 7 seconds behind my PB, so I didn't lose any time in this stage. At this point, shoutouts to Red Lobster for keeping chat updated on my pace. He just knows all the statistics in and out. It's like a computer, the Mario computer, the Mario pace computer. Since Cheese was PB pacing a bit further ahead, the casters didn't seem to notice what Red Lobster was picking up. And now, it's time for Tippy.
It's there, coming out of TTC, minus 4.62 right now.
46, 46, 46. Let's
Yeah,
get
come
one.
on,
This will be
46.
the second.
You can save time on the stairs.
You can lose a lot of time on the stairs. Don't jinx it.
You could.
Actually-
You could.
Do jinx it.
No, the stairs every time.
All right, he's gotta do Manamo.
Do whatever's on the final stage. We're gonna
Yeah,
do
main screen.
main screen. Do whatever right now. We'll
This
keep
is
you updated
Manamo
on
right there, that
Wiki.
elevator. All right, that sets him up. He's gotta hold it down though. Triple jump wall kick. And he's missed it. That's the world record gone just like that. It was a really, really good attempt.
Oh, but he's
It's
still
so-
gonna
it's
improve
so
his time.
difficult.
Alright, Tippy. Where all the chokes happen at any given step. I've had my fair share of chokes since the 46. It's been over 2 years since I PB'd. Even in recent time, right before Break the Record, I was not able to clutch it out. Something always goes wrong. So I think it's only natural that going up to Tippy my mind always goes crazy. You're so close to achieving something you've been working towards for a long time. And all you have to do is get through the hardest parts of the game. In hindsight, I try to tell myself the chokes aren't too bad. It shows that you can do it, that it's possible to PB, but it still hurts. I adapted the practice of still finishing the run out and just trying to stay calm and focused, to build experience and consistency in Tippy. Past experiences make me end up thinking too far ahead. Like, how will people react if I clutch it out? How's it gonna feel? What happens if I fail? But all I can do here is to tell myself to not worry about that stuff right now, and remind myself to stay calm. Although there's another factor I have to deal with this time. Live streaming an attempt at home is one thing, but now there's a live audience. I do a similar method here for like at home when I close chat, just trying to ignore the fact that people are watching. So looking at my monitor, I kind of envisioned a tunnel, everything else around it is just blurry. All that matters is Mario. Each breath helps to keep staying sucked into the game. I probably should have mentioned that sooner, because this is also what I tried all of upstairs. But yeah, the nerves that you have in Tippy are like 10 times worse than in upstairs. My mind goes crazy and my heart rate goes up by a lot. So let's just... I do exactly that on the upcoming starter cutscene. It's perfect to catch yourself. And try to remember that all that matters is the star that is coming up and nothing else. So right here, I started thinking about the upcoming trick itself. The first star in Tippy is definitely the scariest thing for me. Except for bits, of course. I thought, nothing matters right now except the star that's coming up. Best possible time being that high already? Doesn't matter. If you mess up slightly and make it even worse? Doesn't matter. You finally got to run this far. You can think of all the stuff when you're done with the run. So for Lucky to Bounce, I kept going over the whole trick in my head. How it looks, where I'm going and such. In the star select, I told myself the inputs in the beginning. Just please make sure to start off by pressing A plus B together for the kick. And after the beginning kick happened, each movement just flowed into each other. Muscle memory takes over. But I was constantly paying attention as to how my jumps looked, how much dust I got, and how my angles were. I was ready in case I needed to do any backups. Some moves I observe more than others, like this double jump. It needs to be around this height, so Lucky 2 is in the right spot after the wall kick. On the slope, I made sure to wait a bit before I jumped. I was on edge, because I was afraid of starting all the way down if I pressed A just a tiny bit too early. At the same time, I got ready to press B for the pole grab. You have to press B at the same frame Mario grabs the pole, to avoid the pole dancing. On the pole, I looked at this texture, because when Mario passes it, that's when you want to press A. Then feel the control stick sliding over from the top notch to the right for the turn, press A for the double jump and again for the triple jump. Everything I know from doing it over and over in practice as well as in runs was coming together right here. Everything was working out. The wall kick being so high finally gave me time to think a bit. I made sure to eat a bit of dust in order to not press A too early and fall down, and also hold back enough so my B input results in a kick and not a dive. I took my time on the long jump to get the right angle, as well as don't ground pound right away, just to confirm I get the star for sure and don't miss it. Overall, Lucky to Bounce went amazing. There's so much going through my mind when I do such a hard star while being under pressure. Having all this knowledge and being able to react if something goes wrong is extremely necessary. Some stars have these risky parts where you have to pay a lot of attention at your surroundings. Lucky to Bounce has a lot of those parts. Once I grabbed the star and realized I just played this close to perfectly, I could feel my heart. I thought it was gonna jump out of my chest. I needed to calm down. I used the downtime to make sure I breathe in and out. Calming down and being done with lucky to bounce definitely made me feel safer, but I made sure to not be too laid back, since a misinput on member right could have easily resulted in a death and the world record being gone completely. So yeah, I was making sure to pay attention to when and where Mario lands after the double jump in order to not fail the triple jump. The beginning is one of the parts where I worry a lot when doing reds. After nailing it, I start thinking about the upcoming wall kick. I had to make sure my lineup is good, as well as not bonk my head against the ceiling, like I did in my PB, where I fell down. But here, my flow does not get disrupted. Everything was super clean. And after reds, I was tied with my PB. I saved 7 seconds on the last 2 stars. There's even more time save coming up in TTC, but I tried to ignore the fact that this could be a new PB. And just stay focused on the upcoming star, you know? Instead of thinking about how already being done with the run would be and yada yada yada. On tricky triangles, I put a lot of thought into the beginning triple jump. Mainly the camera, since it's easy to mess up the cam if you're not focused and that ruins your whole star. And you have to back it up. But afterwards, the movement is not too bad. I made sure to run a bit here to align myself for the long jump. Could have long jumped sooner, but I took the super small time loss instead of messing up the angle. Being a bit more consistent and all. After getting up, I did fill up the long jump input and did a single jump into double jump instead. But I did not let that get to me. I backed it up quickly with a long jump, didn't want to do anything fancy like a dive rollout, so everything was good. And after tricky triangles, I got distracted by this live setting a bit. I looked over to Cheese since he was right next to me. He was falling down on TTC Reds, choking his PB, and I noticed him move and hear the casters and audience.
Random, and 9 makes it move really fast. And you can hear Cheese there.
Since I had some downtime after collecting the star, I found it easy to pay attention to Cheese. I had to tell myself to look at my screen and stay focused on my game, trying to ignore what's happening next to me. You know how it goes. Earlier in the no reset run you saw how my swinging in the breeze went down? It was awful. So I went for the all-in safer strat here as well. Just like with Breezeless, I was feeling super shaky towards the strat I had already messed up not too long ago. With the older strat you don't have to do that triple jump or scary long jump and generally don't need perfect movement at the end. A lot more time to breathe in between inputs and a lot less risky overall. At the end of Rainbow Ride, I was still tied with my PB, even with that tricky triangles mistake. Going into TTC, I tried to ignore the fact that I have a lot of time saved there. I mean, I could be green at the end of TTC, but that's not what you want to focus on when you do TTC 100. Breathing in and out slowly really carried here. I was able to stay collected and focus on the upcoming star. However, that didn't protect me from making nervous mistakes. I messed up the side flip on the reds and fell down, but I was in the zone. I recovered extremely fast and didn't let it phase me as I knew I could still world record after that. I don't know what it is, but in TTC 100 your stick just starts to feel like there's butter on the inside. It slides around so easily and weirdly, getting some angles is hard. I was definitely playing shaky, and it showed again as I messed up another side flip. I didn't get the right angle so I couldn't triple jump. If I did, I would have fallen down. I backed it up with a quick single jump. As that was just an improv, it spiraled into a ledge grab. Really annoying, but what can you do? I was glad I didn't fall all the way down. After all that, it was also really hard to collect these blue coins properly. You can tell I couldn't hold the right angles here at all. But then I played fairly good, got the triple jump wall kick and finally managed to get a good side flip. Sadly I messed up the double jump input here, but immediately reacted to it. I just backed it up with a side flip instead. On this box, the RNG can be a bit of a mess, so I was watching out for a coin flying off to the left. Luck was on my side though, RNG was good. The movement afterwards I'm also very confident about, as long as my angle on the wall kicks feels right. And as the movement flows, my flow does not get destroyed. This upcoming box after you jump down can also be a bit of a mess, so while I'm in the kick, I was getting ready for bad RNG, and if I do miss a coin, go back and collect it. But that box was nice to me, so I was able to keep my momentum. I had godlike RNG on the last box too. RNG in general has actually been amazing this run. Then I heard the thwomp stomp down. You can also tell by the shake, so I knew the thwomp was just getting up. I had to adjust my ending. Instead of wall kicking off the thwomp, I did the backup dive. Overall, that TTC 100 was really solid. Despite these mistakes, I felt like I was in control. After a TTC 100 like that, where I come out feeling good, I always manage to feel super confident for the rest of the stage. I felt like I could take my time, get some dust here and there. Knowing that calmed me down for the next hard star, pendulums. After the triple jump wall kick is a part that I always overthink. Since it needs to be just right, I have to remind myself to delay my dive to have the right spacing for the rollout into single jump. And it goes amazing as well. After nailing that, I was feeling so good. From here on out, usually only small mistakes happen. Never something that costs a lot of time. Rolling to the cage went good, and so did get a hand. Not perfect, but more than good enough for this kind of pace. After each star, I kept up the strat of just breathing in and out, and only think about the upcoming star, which worked really well. Moving bars as always, I just want to make sure to not die in the beginning, so when I was about to select the star, I reminded myself to take time on the first kick. If you kick too early, you can't make the double jump dive and just bonk and die. As you can see, generally on this star, it's just like taking it easy, not doing the fastest side flip for example, just getting some dust so I have the right angles and don't fall down or anything. Just like, yeah, just please make it through the star. I don't know how to do it fast anyways, so I'll take it. Since Cheese was about to finish his run on the big screen, all eyes were on him. I could hear the commentary and audience react a little bit. I was hoping people in the audience would also notice my gameplay, because I was kinda popping off, but that was an absurd thought to have. It wasn't important if people noticed my pace, so I tried to push that thought out of my head and ignore it. Me clutching this was a lot more important right now. Due to production, you couldn't see my moving reds. I didn't know at the time, but in hindsight, that is pretty sad. Since I didn't know though, I didn't mind. But Chad went ham. They were already popping off, but after that, dude...
Going for a good time, but final Bowser fight coming up here. And we're gonna see... Let's get Cheese on the focus there on that one, and we will go for it. Final Bowser fight, throw number 1.
Looks like it's good. The hitbox is a bit wider than Bowser, so if it does go a bit askew, it's still pretty good. That's looking nice. 2 for 2.
After Cheese finished, you could see my game feed again. I just finished TTC and got the Toad Star. Going into bits is when the nerves hit 100 times more than for Rainbow Ride. I don't think I'll ever be this nervous again. On pace into bits in front of a live audience. There were too many thoughts in my head in this moment. All I could do was pray. I messed up slightly going up the stairs. Doing this movement on nerves is just extremely hard. Even after that though, I knew it was barely possible, so I kept going. All I had to do was get an almost perfect bits. I tried to lose myself. Just focus on holding the right control stick inputs. It doesn't matter what might happen, just do your best and get this done. So I entered bits. Only 1 or 2 seconds to spare over my gold split. I knew Cheese finished and now all eyes were on me. It generally felt like I was gonna get a heart attack. I was trying my best to just stay calm. Due to sloppy movement and dust, I wasn't able to get the fastest cycle, and to seal the deal...
Long jump, 1, 2, no! Saved it, great save, great save. Really, really good save from D. Triple jump, lands it, brilliant.
I did not give in. I was ready for anything. I knew clutching this out, even with the world record gone, was just as important. Nothing really changed. I still had to finish this. Entering throws, I could finally take a breather. Unfortunately, my cable management wasn't that great. After switching controllers, I lost my headphones, and I couldn't get them back, there was no time. I could hear the venue full volume, trying my best to ignore it. The atmosphere I was playing in just completely changed with the audio being gone. I was focusing so hard still. I mean, I could still get a super good time at this event. A missed throw? That was super annoying. But I told myself, it's not over yet. It's not over yet. Stay focused. You have to bob Cheese. I re-grabbed Bowser, took my time on the spin, focused on the bomb and hit the second throw finally. And just one more quick re-grab, quick spin, and there it is. I tried my best to not immediately jump up, because that's what I really wanted to do. This run happened so early in the event, but it was not over yet. We all know what could happen. It's not over until you grab the final star. And yeah, the star spawning, that's it. And I finished with a 47-18, 20 seconds behind world record. Immediately afterwards, emotions hit. I couldn't control myself. I couldn't believe I had a world record paced run into bits already. I screamed at Cheese, who congratulated me, then got up. I could barely stand. I was shaking so hard. Then I went up to Bowie and Agik, barely able to walk, and told them that was world record pace. They were probably a bit confused, considering I couldn't talk properly.
So obviously that was 47-18. The world record is 46-58, 20 seconds lost, 1 throw fail, and 1 drop down in bits. That was world record pace, ladies and gentlemen.
I mean, it's easier to say than it is to do, but yo, D, do it again.
Nah, just kidding. I'm not gonna hit you for another montage. Did I get you? Admit it. But on day 2, I had a run that was green out of Rainbow Ride, 3 seconds ahead of my PB. Now, if this actually was world record, you would have heard by now. But let me show you real quick how this run ended. I had an amazing TTC 100. I switched up strats here, since on day 1 I messed up the triple jump to the blue coin switch. This time I went for the older strat instead, the long jump. You know, trying to adapt because strats weren't working out. I could go on and on about how I handled this run mental wise, but I would just repeat the whole video. The only difference was that I had to beat Benji, who got a 47.04 on day 1 after I got the 47.18. It's the same as always though. I had to ignore thoughts like that in this run, otherwise I would have thought too much about what ifs and lost focus. If I had to summarize what I've been trying to say in this video, try your best to not get distracted by unnecessary thoughts and focus more on the upcoming star. One thing for me that helps would be closing chat, for example. But the way you personally get focus can be a lot different. I hope that makes sense. But yeah, this run went downhill after a decent TTC 100. I choked the ending, I bonked against the thwomp, got kinda trolled because he literally just thwomped down as I dove. Then I choked ape down twice. Luckily people finally saw a nutty moving reds though.
Let's go. Gets it!
Beautiful! There you go!
This is it for D.
And I ended up finishing with a 45.03 TTC, 1 second behind my PB. That's the same pace out of TTC like the 47.18 had. You can guess what happened. I choked bits as soon as I entered it. I might have still been able to beat Benji, I think, but then I messed up the triple jump walk kick again. Then I also missed the regrab and 2 throws. I finished the run with a 47.26. Sadly, wasn't able to beat the time I set 2.5 hours into the event. The 47.18 was the best time I got overall. I ended up on 2nd place. And I'd be lying if I said I wasn't disappointed or frustrated about these chokes. This game's so goddamn stupid, dude. 70 just means a lot to me, so this event was really important to me too. GG's on the PB and bopping me, Mr. Benjo. You asshole. Despite only getting 2nd, I think I still played pretty okay. I've been taking a break from seriously grinding Mario since Break the Record and honestly don't know when I'll be back. But bro, this event was just amazing. Playing on stage was one of the most incredible feelings I've ever experienced. Being on pace and seeing the crowd get excited while you're on throws, messing around with friends on stage while playing a game that we love, I really hope I get to do it again sometime. Shoutouts to all my goons, it was such a fun time, and thank you so much for the opportunity, SA. Y'all put on an amazing show. I hope you enjoyed the video, Mr. YouTube. It was quite the project. It took me a while to finish this, so thank you so much for sticking till the end. I wonder you could tolerate my voice for that long. Have a good one, and see you in the next one. Peace.